One day away from Flaming Dragon Friday.
Scary. Dragon.
There's a piece of merch that's getting pushed out in relation to Flaming Dragon Friday that everybody's just unbelievably jacked and tan about around here. But I do want to say yesterday during All Access, all right, typically we have our All Accesses on Thursday, had it on Wednesday, yesterday. There's a big debate that was raging on, okay? And I think I know which side most people fall on if their taste buds work. Pizza Lunchables are trash.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
No,
yeah, they are.
They're not.
Yeah, Pizza Lunchables are trash. I'm sorry, they are.
Yeah.
And, by the way, I forgot who it was in the chat in All Access yesterday. The deep dish Pizza Lunchable, real thing.
You looked it up?
No, he sent it to me.
Can't hide money.
Sent it to me.
Deep dish pizza.
Deep dish
Matthew.
Pizza Lunchable. Was it Matthew?
Matthew.
Who sent it in?
Redondo.
But listen, okay, the normal Lunchables, which is basically like a charcuterie board for kids, or maybe charcuterie boards are just Lunchables for adults. I don't know, either way you look at it. But that cardboard mixed with that astronaut paste they said is tomato sauce.
So good.
It is a tragedy that was even made, and it's not good, and I don't care what any of you say about
Man,
it.
I am
I don't
surprised to
listen
hear
to
this
Frenchmen,
from you.
okay?
You know,
Wow,
I'm
this guy
about
goes to
sick of
France
that.
one time, he can't eat Lunchables.
Look, sorry you guys aren't sophisticated. I didn't like Lunchables in the United States growing up. I wouldn't like Lunchables in France. I wouldn't like Lunchables in Italy. I wouldn't like Lunchables in Iraq.
That's one of the reasons I don't want to eat Lunchables anymore, because I'm afraid now I'll be like, yeah, this is disgusting. I don't want to
'Cause it
ruin my
is.
childhood memories. I did that one time with Are You Afraid of the Dark? You remember that show?
Yes.
I decided to watch Are You
ate
Afraid
the
of the
darkness?
Dark later in life and was like, man, this is bad. I used to be scared of this.
I used to
so
be
I don't want to do the
horrified
same
of
thing with Lunchables. And I'm not going to ruin my memory of going in there in the second grade and opening the lunchbox and, oh, what's that? Mom packed the pizza Lunchable. I don't know about deep dish. Can't speak to that. All right. We were on a budget, but it was delicious.
I know Mama Cone, all right? And I know she loves you,
Yes.
but I'm disappointed in her.
Wow. You
Wow.
call her
I
and
am.
tell her that.
No,
Wow.
hell no. Are you crazy?
Wow. Jeez.
Hey,
The pizza
don't make it
Lunchable.
something it's not.
That's how I knew there
Don't
was
make-
love.
Don't bake ribs either.
That's how I knew Mama loved me. It's a pizza
Here we
Lunchable.
go.
Hella disappointing.
Yeah, let's get
Pizza
on this vote
Lunchables,
again.
Phenomenal.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
let's put the poll out there.
Phenomenal.
Got a great show for you today. Ben Mintz is going to stop by, talk about his new gig, kind of everything that went down in college baseball. Alabama becomes the latest state to ban transgender athletes from competing. We're going to break down the top 10 storylines in SEC football. They're going with the spring meetings right now. I'm Jake Crain. It's a Thirsty Thursday, and welcome to Crain & Company. Now, we all fail in life at some point, regardless of how good you are. And being upset by failure is a good thing. It motivates you to become a better version of yourself. And I do empathize for people that are trying to work their way back up. But excuse me if I don't shed a tear for former Auburn head coach Brian Harsin after he had one of the worst tenures a head coach has ever had at a place that has shown that you can be a big-time winner like Auburn. Now, excuse me if I don't also cry into the night for someone who got a buyout of almost $8 million after doing absolutely nothing he said that he would when he got named the head coach at Auburn. And I bring this up because in a recent article by Chris Lowe of ESPN, he painted Brian Harsin as a victim and said now he is thriving. And Harsin threw some subtle jabs at Auburn, saying he saw the worst in people. And while there are some things that Auburn could have done better, nobody's going to argue against that. He has nobody to blame but himself. Now, I always give new coaches the benefit of the doubt when taking over a job. I did the same with Brian Harsin. I've been in the business. I know how the sausage is made. And it's one thing to fail after giving your best effort and doing everything you can to succeed. But that's not what Brian Harsin did. He thought he could just coast by, just by being the head coach that didn't recruit and didn't understand the grind it takes to be successful in that position in the SEC. The lack of his recruiting effort and overall arrogance is what doomed him. All he wanted to do was lift weights and talk about accountability while he exhibited none of the latter. Even the greatest ever, like Nick Saban, understands to this day the effort necessary for a head coach in recruiting. Now, Harsin thought Auburn was just lucky to have him, when in fact, he was lucky to get the job. Now, typically, guys who get their first really big shot as a head coach in a big-time conference are chomping at the bit to go out and put together the best roster possible. But not Bryan Harsin. To put it plainly, he was a house cat. He wanted his milk brought to him instead of going out in the wild and earning it. Now, there were salacious rumors that he had to endure and pressure from boosters when he wasn't performing. But guess what? That's life in the SEC and high-level college football in general. You aren't the first to have to go through it, and you definitely won't be the last. Now, I'm not excusing some of the bad behavior because it did happen, but spare me the whining and crying, Bryan. Winning cures all of that. Now, he may have seen the worst in some people during his tenure, but Auburn saw some of the worst coaching that they've ever seen during his tenure as well. Let's look at the numbers. He finished his days at Auburn 9-12 overall. That's the worst record for a non-interim head coach at Auburn since 1948. He finished 2021 on a 5-game losing streak and started 2022 3-5. That 3-10 stretch is the worst 13-game stretch at Auburn since 1928. And those guys didn't get $8 million just to get the hell out. So if we're going to talk about the worst, Bryan Harsin takes the cake. Now, everything aside, it seems that he is happy. He's got his family around him right now, and I'm glad for him. He's super rich. You should be. But to paint him as a victim is just flat out unrealistic. But hey, at least this time when he's lifting weights and talking about accountability, he won't be sinking a major program while doing it. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver.
Get it right.
Crain, I'm sorry. You come in here, you get my wife's name right.
Disrespectful.
I apologize.
Huddle up.
Huddle up. What did you say the name?
Huddle up. We suck.
That's one of the best lines you ever had.
Oh,
and David,
man.
look, there's been so many examples of head coaches having to deal with craziness and crazy fan bases and boosters and all of that.
Yeah.
Why? And again, I don't want to excuse bad behavior, but this man sat up there time and time again and talked about accountability and not making excuses and not painting yourself like a victim. And then him and his buddy, Chris Lowe, get together and put out this Nicholas Sparks piece about how hard it was for him. You know who I feel bad for? The people that get screwed over? Coal miners and single mothers and people that don't get paid $8 million to go out and hang out in Idaho. So, again, there's good and bad on both sides. But when you look at the numbers, Bryan Harsin just couldn't get it
Yeah,
done.
I was surprised by those numbers that you were spouting off there. I didn't see the particular article that you're talking about, and we spent some time around Bryan Harsin at the last couple SEC media days. I really bought into what he was selling. I thought he was going to have success at Auburn. Talking about it takes more than just talking about accountability and things like that. But like we talked about Bryan Harsin, you can't not be elite at everything. Right? Like you have to succeed, especially in one area. If you're going to be sandwiched between Athens and what Kirby Smart's doing and Tuscaloosa with Nick Saban, you either need to be an elite recruiter or an elite developer or an elite play caller. Like something you have to be really great at. And it just wasn't working at Auburn for him.
Yeah, and Blaine, if you don't believe me when talking about effort in recruiting from the head coach, and I'm not talking about Auburn's staff. I'm not talking about Cadillac Williams. I'm not talking about Zach Etheridge.
Yeah.
These guys were out there grinding every single day. Trevon Reed, those guys.
They're still there.
I'm not. There's
That's
a reason.
why.
There's a reason. I'm not talking about them. But when you have high school coaches coming out and disparaging the head coach at Auburn because his ass won't go out there and give effort in recruiting, you don't deserve to win. You don't deserve to be able to walk around and have that AU pin on your chest as the head coach. You can't expect it to be handed to you, and that's what I think he expected.
Yeah, he was a fake. That's what he was. He's a fraud. He's a phony. I mean, he knew how to put on a face. He was at a place in Boise State where they basically just delivered you players.
Yeah.
They delivered you players here. Your guys are going to play on Saturday, and you're going to be on the upper echelon in your conference of better athletes. Then you come down to Auburn, right, where you have to hunt.
Yeah.
You have to go kill what you need to eat at night. You have to go get these guys. And it's not like Auburn's some program that's just coming out of nowhere that you're going to have to bring to the top. Auburn can get guys, right? We've seen it.
They're doing it right now.
Hugh Freeze right now is balling. He hadn't even coached a snap, but you're seeing the effort and not being afraid to go get the bag. And Hugh's always been able to go get the bag. And Brian Harsin just tricked everybody. That's what he did. Yeah. What did he do well? What did he do well? Nothing. Bo Nix, offense terrible. Never got better up front. Defense was good, but not because of him. Bo Nix, your quarterback, his dad played at Auburn, right? Starting quarterback at Oregon right now. Because of who? Brian Harsin, right? At the end of the day, he tricked everybody. I'm glad he's gone. Go sit in Idaho and cry about it with all your millions of dollars. I don't care. Auburn is better for Brian Harsin being gone. I don't care about the boosters or any other situation he was dealing with. He didn't recruit. He wasn't good at calling plays, and the team's culture was falling apart.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about it, because I got on here and said when he took the job, it is a risk. It is a risk when you jump into the deepest water. And I sat here, and again, like I said, I'll give guys the benefit of the doubt. I know how hard it is. I know how big of a risk that is. I know it's a lot of money, but it is a big risk. And you see what happens, when you fail, you can fall off the face of the earth pretty quickly. And my biggest thing was, what? I think Brian Harsin wanted to know at the end of the day, am I good enough? And typically those guys go and then are willing to do whatever it takes within the parameters of what's legal and even bend the rules a little bit to really find out. That was the most disappointing part for me. And if you've ever been to Auburn, regardless of fan affiliation, there's great people in Auburn. There's bad people everywhere. Yeah. There's bad parts of every single fan base. And some of the stuff was ridiculous. The stuff with the intern and all that, he didn't deserve that. But guess what? When that doesn't happen? When you win. And that's just the nature of the beast. And it'll always be that way. So let us know in the Booster Club, what do you think about this whole, Brian Harsin is a victim for $8 million situation? Chris Lowe wrote the article if you want to go read it from ESPN. But I tell you who does work hard, our friends over at Good Ranchers, all right? And this Father's Day, let your dad unleash his inner grill master, whether he prefers a sizzling steak or savory grilled chicken. Look no further than the gift of meat from our friends at Good Ranchers. They have ribeyes, New York strips, T-bones, all-natural burgers, and the most delicious chicken you could ever want. Plus, right now, you'll get $30 off with our code BOOSTER. That's at goodranchers.com. They offer a price lock guarantee as well for the next 2 years. Go ahead and get the butcher's box, all right? You're going to thank me later. Free bacon for a year? Come on, guys. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I talked about how fresh the food was in France, all right? When it comes down to the meat game, it's Good Ranchers. Go to goodranchers.com. Use that code BOOSTER. You get $30 off. That's promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, goodranchers.com. David, you're a grill master. There's only one weapon you pull out.
Good
it's not
Ranchers.
Starlink, it's Good Ranchers.
Love it. Bone and ribeye. That's my go-to.
Love to see it.
I got a notification on my phone 2 days ago.
Well, your phone's your hand?
And it says, it's 2023, dude. Yeah.
My bad.
I have a chip in my brain.
Nice.
I can see through your
I got
body.
a chip on my
I can
shoulder.
see your vitals right now.
I got a chip on my shoulder. I don't like that.
I got an email that said, Good Ranchers box on the way. That feeling, you remember when you were a kid and you just got to Disney World? Or I was a Universal kid growing up. You just get there and you just see it.
Yeah.
Right? The Universal, you see all the rides. That's how I feel when I get that email.
I know.
The butcher's box is on the way.
Man, that's how I felt when
wait.
the lunchbox had the pizza Lunchable.
Yeah, look, the poll's tight right now. 50-50.
David, look, I love you.
It's
We're
50-50
best friends, but if you
right
ever compare the Pizza Lunchable to Good Ranchers meat again,
No, it was the Disney thing.
Oh.
See, that's what I'm talking about, dude.
See?
What? Ever since you went to
Golly,
France.
this
Okay,
guy.
good. Sorry, you guys lack
French now.
sophistication.
Yeah, here
But all
we
right, let's
go.
go ahead and get to the Booster Club.
Texas Ed, $19 donation. Thank
Love
you,
to see
Texas
it.
Ed, for your money. Morning, fellas. Good morning to you. Can I get a shout out to my wife today? 19-year anniversary.
Wow, congratulations. You did it.
You did it.
1 year away from 22 decades? Texas Ed. I know you outkicked your coverage, too. Don't lie to me.
Let's go to USMC Sam, $5 donation. Appreciate it, Sammy. Says, pizza Lunchables are hot garbage.
Yes.
I got you, Jake.
Yeah, Sam, let's go. Make that face at him,
Boring.
dog. Make that face at him, dog.
Jimbo Eagle, $5 donation. Question for Blaine, a.k.a. almost as jacked as Tana's replacement cone. Facts. How much do you think Hemi's Butler's ankle will slow him down against the Nuggets? Jimbo, we're going to get there.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get there.
Don't worry.
All
We're going flying blind
about
today.
that. I won't
Putting the
forget about
blindfold
that.
on, figuring it out.
Let's go to Jake's Extra Strong Cologne. What kind of cologne do you have?
60% of the time, it works every time.
Okay, that doesn't answer my question, but thank you. Let's go to, he says, where does DeAndre Hopkins most likely end up? What are the chances he reunites with Deshaun Watson in Cleveland? Also, I'm the best stench ever.
I respect that. We're going to talk a little bit about D-Hop today in rapid fire. I do think there's a couple other landing spots. Just don't go to Cleveland. Like, I know all the reports are coming out. Oh, Deshaun Watson. Oh, he's going back to form, and he's going to figure it out again. I mean, we know how talented Deshaun Watson is. I just don't trust the Browns. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Ben Davies says Auburn is the pizza Lunchables of the SEC. Well, so they're phenomenal.
So they're great.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Ben, I'm gonna just pretend you didn't say that.
Thank you so much. What's up? Why is it smoking in there right now? Whoops, my bad. Jimbo Sliced Bread, if you ask me, Brian Harsin's a genius. He used to sit at home and collect millions from insufferable Auburn and doesn't have to deal with the equally insufferable boosters. Scam complete. Check.
If you want to talk about hitting a lick, then yes. But again, I always laugh when people are like, oh, this fan base, this crazy fan base. It's like, again, they're all crazy.
Yeah, who do you root for?
Yeah, like here, let's go through time. Like everybody, fan is short for fanatical. All right, booster is a fan with a lot of money. Okay, so put those two together. You're one step away from a supervillain in the Spider-Man verse.
Let's go to Bry Ganter, who's balling.
Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna get to you, Bry guy.
$20 donation, Bry. Appreciate it. He says, you know what they're saying is true because there has been a very little fall off at Boise State since he left. I like Harsin, but I think he's being a crybaby. He also didn't take many of the Auburn players with him. You think Auburn players are going up to Boise?
Yeah.
That'll never happen.
Yeah, no, it's, look, again, I think you look at what Hugh Freeze is doing too. I mean, he had to pick up the pieces. It was an absolute train wreck at Auburn when he took over, and you look at the numbers he's putting up in recruiting right now, and like Blaine said, he hadn't even coached a snap, and you can just feel the positive momentum. But when you put in the work, you can reap the rewards, and I think that's what you're seeing.
Let's go to Cole Frink, $5 donation. Y'all can guess what this is going to be.
Yeah.
MJ is the GOAT, LeBron is mid, and we all know what Jake is, a spy. Also, question, what do y'all do after the show?
Well, answer the spy question.
Yeah.
No, I go on the radio a bunch. I mean, there's obviously sports happen like throughout the day, typically, especially if Major League Baseball's playing earlier. But we got some stuff.
Yeah, I'm going through Jake's financials right now. There's a money trail.
I don't like that. You can see my vitals, and you're going through my financials.
Well, you're a danger to the
I didn't know you were Tony
United
Stark.
States of America. So yeah, I am.
Don't say that on YouTube.
Jake's a danger to the United States of America.
Yeah,
and he
Christopher
needs to be
Ray may not show up to Congress, but he'll burst down this door like I'm Bin Laden.
Let's go to Travis Elrod. #Ask Crain & Co. How many coaches are seeing an opportunity that Harsin squandered? How many of them wish they had the same opportunity?
Most. I mean, most.
Yeah.
Again, most coaches are, I mean, David, yeah, you know this, most coaches are super competitive. They're uber competitive. They want to know. They want to be in that arena. And again, that's why a lot of them got to where they were. So a ton of guys. And that's all across the country at big-time places. All right, one more.
Ryan Gade, $5 donation. Appreciate it. Excited to start with the BC bets today.
Yeah.
As I'm new to sports betting, can you explain units? Also, Blaine, are you going to wear Brett's jacket again? Chill out on the last one. And units, okay, I mean, yeah, positive units. Positive units, I mean, you're betting the underdog is what you're doing.
Yeah, it's units, and I will give you just the absolute verbatim definition, but it's basically like it's the money. It's the way you calculate how much you've won. The definition is a unit is a non-monetary measurement of the size of a bet. It is a way to measure success or failure in betting without showing the actual amount of money won or lost. Units are used for accuracy and transparency, especially when it comes to comparing one bettor to another. So positive units, okay, good thing. Negative units, bad thing. But it's almost like a scoreboard. That's the best way I can put it. Instead of saying, hey, I'm up $7, you know, it's kind of a catalytic converter measurement way of doing that. So that's the best way that I can do it.
Go watch our video on YouTube.
Yeah, we got Betting 101, Betting 102, and the third one we don't even talk about anymore. Betting 103, the Dark Sorcerer, the Dark Wizard. But all right, Coney.
Top 3 SEC storylines.
Let's do it.
What we're going to do.
Let's do it. Y'all want to? You want to start over there, David?
Yeah. I'll tell you. Let's each do our third one, and then we'll just go from there. I'm going to start with my third for my top 3 SEC storylines, which is Bobby Petrino's influence at Texas A&M. Look, this is year 6 for Jimbo Fisher. He hasn't won 10 games yet. Last year, 5-7, didn't go bowling. Year before, 8-4, and now he brings Bobby Petrino in to run the offense. You know, the thing with Jimbo Fisher when he came over from Florida State is a lot of what we talked about with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. This guy is a quarterback whisperer, so he's going to be able to recruit good quarterbacks and develop them. Well, you know, Kellen Mond was really one of the best quarterbacks that Jimbo Fisher has had at Texas A&M. And even then, there were a lot of questions on whether or not Kellen Mond's the type of quarterback that can win a lot of games there. So, you know, he brought over Max Johnson from LSU. You know, Haynes King just wasn't the guy last year. You and I talked about it a lot. Now you're going to have Connor Wegman, who a lot of people think is going to start. Our boy Billy Lucci over there. We talked about ad nauseum with him. But I think bringing in Bobby Petrino was the right move. Yeah. It may just be a one-year situation.
Yeah.
We may not be talking about Bobby Petrino at Texas A&M next year, and you're going to have to go on the road to Miami. I don't have their schedule pulled up right now, but you go on the road to Miami, and you're playing in the SEC West. So you're going to find out very quickly whether or not Bobby Petrino's influence at Texas A&M is going to have a positive impact. But why this is one of my top 3 SEC storylines is because whether it's successful or it fails, it's going to impact Jimbo Fisher's future, I think, at Texas A&M.
Very true. I like the hire. Liked it when they made it, and I know there's some baggage that comes along with Petrino and his past or whatever. But when it comes down to out-formationing people, when it comes down to play calling, when it comes down to understanding leverage and installation and teaching and communicating, Bobby Petrino is one of the best offensive minds in the country. Now, one thing that we've said is it needs to go good early. When you have 2 egos like that, like Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher, it needs to go good early, because if it doesn't go good early, and this turns into Jimbo starts hinting at maybe I need to get more involved in the offense again, which we've seen that movie before, then that's when it can become a big problem. But if you're Jimbo Fisher, I still feel like he's safe with that contract. You could almost look clean both ways. All right, before everybody says, oh, what do you mean? If it doesn't work on offense, Jimbo Fisher can say, hey, I need to get back involved. It wasn't just me, whatever, even though he's the head coach and he assumes responsibility. But if it goes good, Jimbo Fisher looks like a genius. Hey, you know what? I'm a CEO now. I can adjust. I can be malleable. I always give Nick Saban credit for being malleable when he's at the top. I know Jimbo's not at the top, but when it comes down to being paid and being at a big-time place, he's up in that realm. So it's going to be interesting. It's one of the main storylines I think we're going to be following all year in college football when it comes down to it. Now, my third is Lane Kiffin talking about a new term that he's invented called pre-portaling, which is basically another way of saying tampering before the portal window opens. He said Quinshon Judkins, we know how great of a running back he was last year as a freshman for them. Lane said he was the most pre-portaled player out of anybody in the country last year, and he talked about kind of something that we opened with yesterday about players having to sign contracts to stay if they're going to take NIL money. He talked about how that kind of makes them employees. Is that where we're heading? Which I think that's where we're heading. You know, do you create a, CBA, players union, whatever it is? I think we may end up going down that route. So I was very interested because Lane Kiffin is one of the best at generating news, whether that be trolling somebody or talking about what's going on in a very genuine manner, I think. I mean, say what you want about Lane, but he's going to say what he thinks.
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, Quinshon Judkins was an absolute dog.
Yeah.
Absolute
stud.
Dog. He's going to be an absolute dog, but I'm not surprised by that. I mean, tampering's going to happen regardless. I mean, before the portal, after the portal, people tamper. I don't know how you're going to fix it. I mean, my storyline, this was easy. Can the LSU Tigers do it again? Can they do it again? Right? What do you bring back? I'm talking, West one. I'm talking Natty, too. I mean, what quarterbacks are coming back this year that you're really excited about? I know one. I mean, that's Jaden Daniels. I mean, the improvement, I mean, from where Jaden Daniels was first game, to where he was at the end of the game, he might have been one of the most improved quarterbacks in the nation last year.
He was.
Hell, he wouldn't sit more than 3 seconds in that pocket before he went gone. And you saw later in that year, especially in their bowl game, just watching him go through his progressions, watch him grow as a player. One thing you do worry about if you're LSU was explosive plays. I believe you finished 101st last year in explosive plays, but you saw explosive plays against Purdue. You bring in the number 6 recruiting class, phenomenal. Your quarterback's back. Your defense is only going to improve. I mean, with Harold Perkins over there, is an absolute dog, right? And then you get one of the top transfer classes in the nation. So this LSU team, I'm really interested. I think a lot of it If they can get past week 1 against Florida State, then you're going to see a team that can probably afford to lose a couple games and still make it to the playoffs. I believe in Brian Kelly in his second year at LSU, and I would not be surprised if LSU won the West in the SEC.
You think they could lose a couple games? So they
beat
could be
Florida State.
Loss?
Yeah, I think
They
that
could be a two-loss playoff team?
Mhm. I mean, yeah.
Well, if you like you remember last year, hell, they were at 3 losses and played Georgia in the SEC championship. People were talking about maybe a 3-loss.
But they didn't go.
LSU can get in,
we
but
were
they
talking
didn't
about
beat
if
them.
one team did, Alabama would be a team to have 2 losses and make the playoff. So if LSU's the first one to do that, that'd be incredible.
That would be incredible. I mean, we know the cachet that Nick Saban has, obviously. But your point about Jaden Daniels is he started throwing the ball down the field, right? Remember about 4 or 5 games in when Brian Kelly, they asked him, he's like, well, Jaden Daniels has thrown 8 touchdowns and no interceptions. He's like, yeah, but we're getting no return on our investment. We're not challenging people down the field. That's why it seemed like for almost the first half of the year, every time LSU would run, it was like the defense had 13 defenders out there. Every time they would pass, it was like everybody was being doubled underneath. Once that deep third started getting utilized, that offense really blossomed, and it was nothing but good reports out of there. And Blaine, I'll say this as well. LSU has one of the best backup quarterbacks in the country in the age of the transfer portal era. Garrett Nussmeier stayed, which is huge for them.
About
you have a
Brian
guy
Kelly.
like Jaden Daniels that runs. What's your other?
My second one, Georgia's complacency. Will there be any at all? I mean, back-to-back national champions. I mean, at some point, you're not as hungry to win the Natty once you've won several in a row, but maybe this is just what Kirby Smart has built over there. You know, you're going to have a new quarterback, all right? But a lot of Georgia fans I hear from are like, that may not be a bad thing. I mean, you know, we had won back-to-back championships with Stetson Bennett at quarterback. Let's see one of these guys who was highly recruited comes in. Maybe we'll have just as much success. You know, Todd Monken leaving and Mike Bobo coming back. I think this is another great opportunity for Mike Bobo to prove like, hey, we weren't not winning national championships at Georgia because of me, and I'm going to prove it, and I can do that. So let's see what happens. But, you know, Todd Monken now going to go join the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, we're talking about a team that hasn't lost a regular season football game in 3 years. Like, are they really going to be able to keep that going? And this schedule right here, UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, they do go on the road to Auburn. So let's see, you know, Hugh Freeze going to welcome them to town here in year 1. Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss. Then they have Tennessee on the road, and then they go to Georgia Tech to end the season. So, you know, I think we're looking at one of these just incredible dynasties, but how great can it actually be with a new quarterback, with a new offensive coordinator, with a new person, you know, a lot of new personnel? Are they going to go three-peat?
Yeah, it's, you know, the good thing about, and Carson Beck's played some, but the best thing about when you lose a quarterback is when you return the offensive line that Georgia has. I mean, these guys, they look like aliens. You get Ra Thomas from Mississippi State to come over at wide receiver because they need more out of their wide receivers, I think. Brock Bowers is going to be covered like Donald Trump in the news when it comes down to you know, routes intermediate down the field and stuff like that. So defense-wise, they lost a lot, but hell, man, it seems like they lose a lot every year. The way he recruits and the way Kirby does it over there, they just keep reloading. My second one is Greg Sankey talking about basically getting rid of divisions. It's a foregone conclusion in this 8-9 game regular season adjustment. They're going to go to 9. The way Sankey's putting it, look, I can go ahead and tell you guys, divisions are going to be gone. Eventually, I think this is the last year that we're going to have divisions. And then I think eventually you're going to see that 9-game in-conference schedule because, again, it's the best way to do it. You eliminate divisions. You do the 9-game in-conference schedule. In a 4-year career, you can play every team on the road and at home. And if you look at the way the SEC had done it with divisions, I mean, you got guys that hadn't played each other in 20 years in the same conference. That's just absolutely asinine, in my opinion. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we're really going to dive into this with Tim Brando tomorrow, who understands the TV side of it better than anybody, because the 2 biggest negotiators when it comes down to this is the conference commissioner and the people negotiating the TV rights. Those are the 2 movers and shakers. It's not Mark Emmert at the NCAA anymore. They've lost their teeth and their power. And we're going to really get Tim's perspective on it. I'm interested to see what he has to say tomorrow.
My second one is, how bad is it in Gainesville right now for the Florida Gators? Does Billy last after this year? I mean, you got to think the way Florida started off was phenomenal. Beat a great Utah team, a really good Utah team, and then just slowly went downhill. I mean, what improvements have we seen? I mean, new defense coordinator, obviously. I think Billy's done well in the transfer portal, especially picking up that tackle. But, you lose a number 4, a top 5 pick in the NFL draft at your quarterback position, and you win 6 games. And who do you go get? Graham Mertz. all right, who, I mean, is basically as useful as those bats right now in that crate right there. I don't believe in him. A lot of people don't believe in him. And it doesn't get any easier. I mean, hell, you open with who again this year? Utah. You go to Tennessee on the road this year. I would be surprised, and I want y'all to know, I don't wish the downfall of Billy Napier, or I want to see him succeed. I've always liked Billy. But when this hire happened, I didn't feel great about it. I didn't think he'd last more than 2 years. And we'll see this year. You can't lose to Vandy. All right, you lose to Vandy this year, you're gone. All right, so we'll see this year, but I don't believe it. I believe this will be Billy Napier's last year as being the head coach of the Florida Gators.
Man, I really hope not. I think Billy was as crazy as it sounds at Florida, left with a pretty bare cabinet when he took over after what happened with Dan Mullen and kind of the way that roster was cleared out and the culture there was awful. So I hope he does figure it out. He's a young guy. I know the players love him. Excuse me. I think he has done some good things in the transfer portal. But you got to win. I mean, especially at a place like Florida. You absolutely got to win.
It's interesting you talk about the cupboard being bare because, I mean, we know their quarterback went number 4 overall. I mean, and that's a Florida team under Dan Mullen before he was fired that was playing Alabama down to the wire at home that year. So, I mean, like, they had players, they had guys. I mean, Florida is always going to stay with great athletes. So I was surprised that they had such a bad season last year after beating Utah, right? Because that was, like you said, a great win. But my number one storyline in the SEC this season is the Alabama quarterback situation.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the last 4 you've had are playing on Sundays, and they're all starting. And so I think, Nick Saban, I expect Alabama to be much better on defense this year. Not only because after watching the way they played on that side of the ball last year, I think that's Nick Saban's bag and they were already going to be better. But I think you're looking at a coach here who's like, okay, if we get back to some of that old school Alabama football where we don't let the other team score, then we're going to be able to win a lot of games no matter who plays quarterback. Now, from inside the building, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of guys who want Ty Simpson to be the starting quarterback, but obviously Jalen Milroe is the most athletic and has a lot of tools. They bring in Tommy Rees to be the offensive coordinator, who, like you said, Jake, you don't call Tyler Buckner and ask him to transfer to Tuscaloosa unless you're telling him behind the scenes, hey, I think you could probably be the guy.
Yeah, you recruited him.
We're looking at the spring game footage, and it's not great. And I think it's the first time that Alabama's had to deal with that when you're talking about guys like Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts and Bryce Young and Mac Jones, who have been your last 4 starting quarterbacks. So what's going to happen in Tuscaloosa, and how bad could it get if you don't get good quarterback play? That's the thing. It's like, is it still a situation we saw with Clemson last year? With congratulations, Alabama, you weren't great this year and you still won 10 games? Or could it be worse than that? And keep in mind, you're going to go, here's Alabama's schedule here. You got Texas week 2. You get them at home on the second half.
That's not going to be a walk in the park.
Get the second half of that home and home. Road games at Mississippi State and Texas A&M and Auburn on the Plains, and those are the SEC West games. One of your crossover games is at Kentucky, and then you still get LSU and Tennessee at home and Arkansas.
Yeah, and you're having to replace the left tackle too. New quarterback, new left tackle. You typically don't see that at Alabama. I was going to originally, for my main storyline, talk about Hugh Freeze and the way he's transcended the roster really quickly. We kind of hit on that a little bit. I mean, you look at and stars, again, they're important, especially when you talk about positive momentum. But when you look at the offensive linemen that he's brought in that are proven guys, that was so huge. The wide receivers that he's added from all over the country, Peyton Thorne coming in from Michigan State. But, the more I sit here and think about it, in the East, a lot of people are talking about, and they should be, is this going to be Billy Napier's last year? Is he going to get fired after 2 years? Georgia, can they do it again and repeat? I'm looking at 2 schools that, in my opinion, they're in that either step up or stay where you're at phase. And that's Tennessee and South Carolina. Tennessee has a ton of success last year, feels like they're back, recruiting at a high level. Is Joe Milton good enough? He doesn't have to get in a speedboat and go win the races. He just has to make sure you don't hit the damn iceberg and sink the whole ship. Is he good enough to throw the changeup? Is he good enough to operate the offense efficiently enough to be able to put those type points on the board that Tennessee's going to have to score to win games when you run that style? And then South Carolina. Are we going to see beginning of the year South Carolina? Or are we going to see end of the year South Carolina? We love Shane Beamer on the show. All right, we've talked about how Shane recruited you. You've been in that room with him. You love his energy. He's kind of in that new cutting edge social media, savant coach, putting out funny videos. Spencer Rattler. We talk about quarterbacks coming back. You talk about Jaden Daniels. If they get into the year, Spencer Rattler, with the way that he's upgraded this roster, the way that they play special teams, and kind of the new flow in town on offense since Satterfield left, South Carolina could be dangerous. This could be an elevate yourself in the East. Who can maybe take that spot from Florida for the next couple of years? Will it be Tennessee? Were they a one-hit wonder? I don't think they were, but I'm having a hard time trusting Joe Milton. So I'm so interested to see which one of those two schools, or maybe both of them, goes from, hey, we're looking good, middle class, go to a good school, to, oh, now we're in a house on the hills, and it's we're eating steak, eggs, and potatoes and Turks and Caicos right now every summer.
Well, my number one story was Tennessee and Joe Milton. Can you trust him? Is it the system or is it the quarterback? What Tennessee team will we see this year? So remember who you lost. All right, you obviously lost Hendon Hooker. You lost Jalen Hyatt. You lost Cedric Tillman. You still have good pieces.
Brew McCoy, I like Brew.
You got Squirrel, who's going to be who's a talented receiver. But how long until they pull Joe Milton? When does that 5-star freshman step in? So I tell you right now, okay? Systems are one thing, and I know systems can fix a lot of things, and I think you're going to see a lot more teams start running the system Tennessee runs. But Joe Milton's not your guy. All right, I'll tell you this before this season even starts. He's not going to make it past half the season until he gets pulled. He can throw it 80 yards. Congrats. He can do backflips. That's dope. But can you go through a progression? All right? Can you read a defense? Can you put touch on a football when touch is appropriate? Are you breaking your fingers, running back's fingers on swing routes? All right. Sooner or later, it gets to a point whether you learn or you don't. Okay. It's a lot of the TJ Finley situation to me.
Man, I was just about to say.
Right. So, Tennessee fans, I think you'll be a good football team because I believe in your head coach and I believe in the system that you run. But I promise you, if you want to be a great football team, that guy you have a quarterback in Joe Milton is not going to be the piece you need to do that. So that's my main story.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. We talked about this the other day. You got to show it to me, and again, I hope I'm wrong. I love stories of guys, that have grinded through it. We talk about overcoming adversity off the top. Joe Milton would be a great example of that. Transferred from Michigan, wasn't able to win the job there, goes to Tennessee, gets pulled for Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker comes in, and obviously...
That's the thing. He did win the job. He did win the job at Michigan and got beat out. He did win the job at Tennessee and then got beat out. So it's like, how much has he improved while he's been on the bench, sitting behind some of these guys, sitting behind Hendon Hooker? That's my biggest question. Another thing to talk about too is Mississippi State. Just to throw it in there last minute, rest in peace, Mike Leach.
God,
what is Mississippi State going to do? Because this is still a program that can have a really good football team, but you're having to deal with the emotions of losing your head coach and trying to go out there and play great football. And they have some tough games coming up. They're going to have LSU week 3. We're going to find out a lot then. So there's just a bunch of good storylines.
Like Will Rogers, though. I don't think
he's
we
one
talk
of the
about
best passers
Will
in the
enough.
country.
It's going to be interesting. I like Zach Arnett, too, their young head coach.
I think that both Mississippi teams are up for question right now. When's Lane Kiffin going to win 10 games? Is he ever going to win 10 games?
Well, at Ole Miss, I don't want to be disrespectful. Like, you can win 9 games at Ole Miss for the rest of your life and be one of the most successful coaches. They'll build a statue of you. And then, once every 3 to 4 years, make that run. Who has a better quarterback room right now from top to bottom than Ole Miss? You got Jackson Dart. You got Spencer Sanders. You got Walker Howard.
God, how many mediocre guys can you fit in one room?
I don't know. How is Spencer Sanders mediocre?
Well, he didn't have a great year last year.
Well, look at what Oklahoma State, look what they were able to do under Spencer Sanders.
Yeah, he turned the ball over a lot.
Walker Howard has a chance to be really, really special.
I don't think we've seen enough of Walker Howard. We haven't seen enough of Walker Howard to really put a stamp on him, but I've seen enough of Spencer Sanders. I would say a little bit above mid. Right? Spencer, I feel like you get Spencer in the right system. And if anybody can fix somebody when it comes to a quarterback position, who is that? That's going to be Lane Kiffin. Yeah. So, I think a great quarterback room. I expect Ole Miss to always be good on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see about their defense. But, another team, what about Kentucky?
A lot of questions.
Devin Leary, a lot of questions, but they did have Liam Cohen, the OC they brought in a couple years ago when they had success. Speaking about success, we got Ben Mintz coming on here at 7:30 a.m. Central, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, I got that right. Clock in my head. Don't know what time that is in France, but it's probably 7 hours ahead. But we're going to get back to the Booster Club in a second. But Coney, what about a little rapid fire here?
Oh, rapid fire? You want some rapid fire? Hold on.
Pew.
That's not sound effect for that.
There you go.
You see
Coney,
that?
real quick, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I want to make sure everybody knows. In All Access, Cone did trade his fandom for the
Oh,
Braves.
yeah.
Yes,
Texas
the
Rangers
fan.
So
We'll get to
Tone
that.
is now a Texas Rangers fan.
Can I update the people on my life?
Way to
Okay,
steal
without
his
you.
thunder.
Can-
I didn't
you
think
know what
you-
I mean?
Hey, it's about.
I didn't
no,
think you were
David,
going to
it's
tell
about him.
anybody. I didn't think you were going
David,
to tell
you know
anybody.
it's about
I thought
him.
you were just going to slide
No,
by
it's
and not
about
tell
him.
anybody.
Like,
It's
you
about
know,
Blaine.
Okay.
Can I
Hey,
come
way
out
to
of
go in there.
out
I
of
didn't
the
think about
fandom
yourself.
I think
closet
I thought
on
like
my own?
the whole Yankee situation. I thought you were just going to sneak by it, not tell anybody.
No, don't worry about it.
It's like that
We'll get
meme
to
with the
that.
guy pointing.
Yeah, see, don't worry
It's
about
like that
that.
meme with the guy pointing in the mirror who's like, you go in there and make it about you.
He's going to carry the boats.
All right, first one up here. Alabama has become the latest state to ban men competing in women's sports. Governor Kay Ivey signed legislation.
Come on.
Congrats, our
Do it,
brains
girl.
work.
Alabama Governor Kay Ivey signed legislation Tuesday that prohibits transgender women from participating in female sports teams in college. The state had previously banned transgender athletes from participating in female youth sports from grades K through 12. It's not that hard.
No, it's not that hard. And again, like 99, and I know we talk about this a lot, but it's so just crazy that it's just everybody just hadn't been like, all right, we know. Like, who doesn't believe this? Like, find me a person that will look me in the eyes and say that there's no difference between men and women.
They're
in
on
sports.
Twitter.
Yeah, they're out
Log
there.
in.
Yeah, I want to see a real person. I don't think these are real people.
They're just bots.
Yeah, I think they're just
Nah,
bots.
they're out there.
Are people that are hide? Yeah,
PCs?
just PCs. There's no way you can actually believe that. Like, and I say this all the time. And we're not even talking about going to the Wendy's drive-thru and taking 10 cars and playing one-on-one basketball, the men versus the women, which in that case, at least 80% of the time, the man is going to beat the woman. We're talking about people that do sports. Like, that's what they do. That's a big part of their life. They've been training for it. Like, to say that just, I'll put men and women's sports, it won't be any different. So show me all the women in men's sports that are doing good. Like, show me all those.
So under the law, students are prohibited from playing under a different gender identity even after undergoing hormone treatment, which is a big part of this. Because once you start to get the testosterone levels and bring that into it, all that does is encourage this transitioning idea for younger and younger ages, which is even more problematic. And we were talking about, will Bud Light, a company like Bud Light, really take a hit on their sales, after partnering with Dylan Mulvaney, the transgender superstar. And we had a really good discussion about it. You're starting to see these little anecdotal examples of things where people aren't buying the products. And we talked about the Target boycott. Do we have the video on Bud Light? This was at a George Strait concert. Just play this real quick. Let these guys see this.
Just full. If you're on audio, it's just coolers full of Bud. No one's
buying the Bud Light.
Yeah, you got a better chance of selling bottled COVID right now.
Yeah, we're so sick of that frat boy image.
Yeah.
We're so sick of it.
Yeah.
Let's go broke.
Like, okay, well, that's at a George Strait concert. Well, yeah, that's the demographic that was buying Bud Light.
That's
that
not
was
only
the people
happening
you
there,
were
it's
selling to.
That's happening everywhere.
Yeah, and they did something I saw the other day where it's like, Bud Light sales are down and Modelo's sales are up. And then you realize, like, Anheuser-Busch owns Modelo too.
And that's why the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, when this came out and they were asking him, he almost seemed pestered by it. Like, no, our 4-year projections are good. Because see, the CEO is looking, he's over here.
Yeah.
He's not looking at this quarter or that quarter. So in 4 years, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe we will have bots.
Yeah, look,
Bots buying Bud Light.
Dude,
Kill
it's just, I'm glad, like, the thing about it is, like, you can sit here and say we talk about it a lot. I don't think we talk about it enough, to be honest with you. Like, just understand what we're fighting for when we're fighting for this. We're fighting for those little girls that want to play sports and they'll work their entire life just to get it taken from some guy who woke up one day and who said he felt like a woman because he wants to go achieve in women's sports. You can feel like a woman. You can call yourself a woman, but you're actually going to play in a men's sport, right? And no, you're not losing any opportunities. You're just trying to say you are.
Yeah,
So that's the
power
noise.
grab.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I have a daughter now. You got to tell me twice.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, well,
Where's the hill?
Apparently, Dylan Mulvaney likes chicks. So, I mean, this guy's been finessing everybody out here.
Was it really a troll job?
Dude,
Look, if
200 IQ
look,
play?
I'm going to say this, and we've given Dylan Mulvaney a lot of hell. But if this is a troll job, this probably is the greatest troll job ever. If it is truly a troll. Like the most impactful troll job.
it goes into that same realm of like the gay friend, Do you really trust a gay friend at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Going to sleepovers, Do you trust him? I sure as hell don't. He's up to something.
Hey, say what you said
He is
about...
up to something. All
Hey,
right?
say what you said about Target.
Oh, I was like, dude, if you're a guy right now and you're in a relationship, and you see what's going on with Target, you're like, oh, darn.
Yeah, it's like we can.
Dang it.
You know how much money
you're
boyfriends
saving every
and
4
husbands are
days not
saving
going to
now that
Target?
people are boycotting Target?
Yeah.
People's savings are going through the roof in a time when inflation's going through the roof.
And
eggs
see a bunch
cost
of guys up there who are moving all the prize stuff to the front.
Yeah, it's
Doing all this. This is ridiculous. Hey, move that up here.
yeah.
All right, next one. We talked about the way that Gary Patterson really helped out Texas last year. Steve Sarkisian brought him in on his staff. Again, Steve Sarkisian learned under Nick Saban, who runs the rehabilitation clinic himself. Yeah. Well, now Texas is hiring former Wisconsin head coach Paul Chryst as a special assistant to Steve Sarkisian. You see what Steve's doing over there?
Steve's like, come here. I need you, Paul.
Yeah.
Let's talk about offensive line play.
Yeah, went like 67 and 20-something in the Big Ten.
Again.
Not good enough.
I guess not.
Yeah, fired. Get out. Yeah.
Even though, listen, I tell you, I think Wisconsin made good with Luke Fickell.
I do too, but it still was a kind of a.
I know, and it sets a crazy precedent. Not the first time we've seen it, but it's the more great minds you can put in that room, especially minds that have sat in that chair before and understand everything that goes on with the head coach that is so involved offensively in the play calling, like a Steve Sarkisian. You're getting those extra minds because, again, you can have the smartest guy in there, but you need smart guys around you that aren't afraid to tell you when they think you're wrong. That's another big part of this. Paul Chryst has enough cachet to say, listen, Steve, I don't think this is going to work, and here's why. And he's a guy that Steve Sarkisian's not going to look at and be like, what the hell do you know when it comes down to it? It's a guy that obviously demands respect, a guy that's been in that chair, and a guy that you're going to see an impact from because his opinion will be held in such high esteem. That's a real thing in those rooms. Egos are a real thing in those rooms. Paul Chryst is going to have a whole hell of a lot more leeway with that offense than Tommy Rees is. I can promise you that.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. All right, let's move on to the NFL, and this was from a Booster Club question earlier, which we have to hit. Where should DeAndre Hopkins land? He was cut by the Cardinals. What do you guys think would be the best spot for him?
You've heard a lot. You've heard people talk about the Bills. I think that'd be a great fit. I mean, you put him out there with Stephon Diggs and Dawson Knox and that little witch Cole Beasley running around out there getting weird. Gabe Davis, the home run hitter. But a couple places that I look at, I think the Chargers would be the best fit.
I like that.
If you add DeAndre Hopkins and give Justin Herbert even another piece. Mike Williams, if he can stay healthy, we know he's still been balling. Keenan Allen, Blaine, I hate to bring that up. If his hamstring, he won't be.
I won. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. Sidelined by a slightly pulled hamstring for 8 weeks. Austin Eckler, I know they've had some problems kind of with negotiations and stuff like that. I think the Chargers would be the best fit. But if he goes to the Browns, I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a good thing. It'd be a great thing for Cleveland. It'd be a great thing for Deshaun Watson. It'd be a great thing for Amari Cooper and guys on the outside there. But just something about the Browns, man. I don't even think Cleveland fans trust the Browns.
Yeah, you shouldn't. If I'm DeAndre Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins missed a lot of football these last couple of years. I think he missed half the season basically with the steroid suspension. Had him on my fantasy team as well. Chiefs would be fine. I think the Ravens would be a good fit. To me, I think he should go be a Detroit Lion. That's where I think DeAndre Hopkins should go. One, they have $23 million in free cap space, so they can afford him, even if it's a one-year deal. And who are you missing? All right, J-Mo's out for half the year.
Yeah.
All right, you need a guy, a vet, to come in there, and a guy Jared Goff can really trust on the outside. It comes down a lot with Deshaun. Is he healthy? How's that ankle? Deshaun, he's a possession guy. He's not going to break 60, 70-yard touchdowns. That's not who Hop is anymore. All right, but he's a possession receiver. So if it's me, I'm going to go play. And Detroit's a hot team right now.
Hot.
They're
Hansel's hot right now.
So if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, I'm going to Detroit, man. I'm going to go with Jared Goff. I'm going to go with those guys. I think it'd be a good fit.
Well, DeAndre Hopkins had 3 criteria for the new team. 1, stable management.
There you go.
2, a QB who loves the game as much as he does. And 3, a great defense. So, do the Lions really fit into that? Chargers, I kind of like your pick. And how close will he stick to these criteria? I don't know if he's just saying things.
In a perfect world, yeah, sure.
When I hear this, when I hear stable management, a QB who loves the game as much as I do, and a great defense, I'm thinking Eagles. Eagles could be that type of team. And DeAndre Hopkins, when you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith already on the roster, where are you even coming in and fitting in? I think of the Ravens, too, on that. Ravens, stable management. They re-signed Lamar, who clearly wants to win, and they're always going to have a really good defense. And then, honestly, I think of the Steelers, too, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, look, Kenny Pickett is not as proven as some of these other quarterbacks we're talking about, but I think he clearly loves the game of football on the same level as some of these guys. Came in as a rookie, is proving, hey, I'm here to stay. I'm going to be the next generation of starting quarterback for the Steelers. Stable management. I mean, the Steelers, I don't think they've lost. They've been under 500.
Oh, yeah.
As long as I can remember. And then you want to talk about great defenses, like Mike Tomlin's going to have a good defense.
And the Steelers try and win it every year. That's what I love about the Steelers.
And you put him with George Pickens over there.
Yeah.
You got good pieces. You got good people.
Young Najee.
I mean, I think another team we could talk about is the New York Giants. Stable management. I think Brian Daboll's got those guys in the right position. You get Saquon. I mean, Daniel Jones, is he elite? No, but he loves the game, and he's also getting better. And they need a guy. I mean, they need a guy at receiver. They're a bunch of running around with a bunch of no-names out there, still playing well. I mean, I think Richie James was their best player.
You got Darius Slayton.
But Darius
every now and then.
Yeah, but Darius is a good player. Speaking of Darius, War Eagle, but you have a great defense, a young defense, which is only going to get better. And they need a number one guy to go to, and that will be DeAndre Hopkins if he goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, last one. You boys want to fly blind?
Let's do it.
Little NBA Finals preview. We've been getting ready for this one. Nuggets, Heat.
All right. Let me put this on really quick. If you're on audio right now, we're putting on blindfolds. And no, I'm not using Ninja Focus, a.k.a. yes, I'm 100% using Ninja
the first time we ran this segment, we had to do it because we were pre-recording before a game. Now we just want to do it.
Were we right, David?
Huh?
Last time we did this?
I was right on the Nuggets beating the Lakers.
Yeah,
you were right on hockey.
Hockey. Yeah. Dude, I said it would be 4-3 in overtime. It was 3-2 in overtime.
Nice.
All right, who wants to start this out?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
We're talking NBA here.
Yeah, I'm going to find my coffee. Just flying blind over here. Watch this.
Nuggets. Game 1. Spreads at 9.5. Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. First off, Jokic, triple-double. Trip dub, easy money.
Tell us what did happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Triple-double, easy. Jamal Murray ends with 27 points. Has a great game 1, 5+ assists. If that's a bet, you're going to take that. But the 2 guys I'm looking to when it comes to this Heat series, Michael Porter Jr., all right, and Aaron Gordon. Height. What could the Lakers not deal with? Height, rebounding. Who's the biggest guy on the Heat? Spam Adebayo. # not big enough. This is going to be easy money. I think the Nuggets will come out, cover the spread. I think they end up winning by 14 points. All right, Jokic triple-dub. Murray, 25+. I think Jimmy Butler plays well, all right, but I don't know how much he can do it by himself. I think his ankle might be a problem. I think Bam's going to play okay, but the Heat are not going to have enough in this game to even come close to touch the Serbian camel in Jokic.
What's the score? Give me a score.
I'm going to go 118 to 106.
Good. That means
give me the over.
All right, so we all saw what happened last night. I'm going to go ahead and tell you the day before, hop in the time machine. Hey, turn around, guess what? It's me. When about like a lot of people thought, I'm going to go final score Nuggets 121, Heat 99.
Wrong, didn't I?
That's going to be the final score, and here's why. Jokic is going to did his thing. We all know that. You can't play zone against the Nuggets the way you did against the Celtics. They shoot too good, and too many guys can fill it up. Michael Porter Jr. is such a key in this series because he's somewhat of a unicorn with his ability to shoot, his range, his ability now to drive and at least be somewhat of a threat. But it all stops and starts with Jokic. What can the Nuggets do as well that the Celtics can't? Play what? Inside out. One of the best attributes Jokic has is as a passer. He had 14 assists last night, 16 rebounds, 33 points, total dominant scoreboard sesh from Jokic. But what I like to see was the Nuggets attacking the rim. They got Adebayo in foul trouble early. The Heat had to go to Kevin Love, who we know has been to the finals every time he's made the playoffs, but he's not old school Kevin Love. Nuggets shot well enough. The Heat are going to have to find a way to somehow slow them down and get out of zone. And when you play man the whole time, it's just like playing man in football. I know who you got. you know that I got you. I can manipulate it, and you can't go one-on-one with Jokic because when you help, you got Jamal Murray waiting, you got Aaron Gordon waiting, you got a whole cast of characters that can hit the three. So it was a nice win for the Nuggets, went about as expected.
Did you guys even watch the game last night? Miami Heat shocked the world in game 1. 111-110 at the buzzer. And what was exciting? Wasn't even Jimmy Butler at the buzzer. This kid, Caleb Martin, continuing to play high-level basketball. Too many days off for Denver. That's what it was. Miami still rolling on the emotions of winning the Eastern Conference Finals. And look, Jokic and the boys still played good. I think the Nuggets will win in 6. But yeah, I mean, Miami comes out strong. And yeah. Miami
what game were you watching, bud? It's not even close.
111-110.
111?
Shocks the world.
Oh my, shocks the nation.
Man, I really like the flying blind. I got my blindfold up if anybody's asking now.
No, no one asked.
Because I didn't.
No one asked at all.
Well, hey, why don't you read something from the Booster Club while you're over?
Yeah, sure.
Man, I had something totally different to say, but I just couldn't. I couldn't let.
Watch you be right.
I couldn't let.
That means you'll be right. That means you'll be right. You'll be 100% right.
Dude, what are the Heat odds-wise for the series?
Plus 230, plus
for the
285.
series?
Oh, I don't know about for the series.
Well, they were plus 250 the last game at the Celtics.
It wouldn't be a bad bet. Like,
no.
It would not be a bad bet.
Sleeping on.
I think the Nuggets are going to kill them. Like, I'd be surprised if the Heat win a game.
Man, you look like Tum Tum from the Three Ninjas.
All right, we got
a Tum Tum reference?
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking. Rocky loves Emily. Rocky loves Emily. Love that movie.
What movie is that?
Just you're like 11 years old.
One day
so
you'll
you
grow
won't
up.
understand.
God.
You like pizza Lunchables.
God, I hate y'all.
I do too.
All right, let's go to Cole Frink, $2 donation. Guess what it is?
What?
Wrong. When does the flaming dragon candle drop?
Oh.
Today.
I think it's today. Or is it?
Not 100 on it. All right, not 100. I don't know when we'll be able to buy. I think you'll be able to buy it tomorrow. I'm getting with the people. We're sitting in a circle. We're lighting the candle. We're staring at it for a couple hours to really get the sense of feel that we want. So, Cole, we will see about that. Let's go to Swanee, $5 donation. Swanee, thank you, brother. When Mincy gets on, speaking of Mincy, do your boy a favor, tell him Swanee in the 318 say, hey, who dat? Side note, loving the black and gold drip on set.
Yeah, Swanee, appreciate it, man. We're going to get that picture back signed to you, too. We got some Saints love on here.
Let's go to Her Dizzle, $20 donation. A smooth 20.
You love to see
You do a lot of things with $20.
A lot.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Jake.
Stop looking at me like that.
Shout out to what y'all do for women's sports. Thank you. Did you hear Nebraska is going for the international women's sport attendance record this August with hosting a volleyball game in Memorial Stadium? 90K tickets sold.
Look, they take their volleyball seriously, and I want to say Women's College World Series in softball starts today, 12 Eastern. The greatest women's sports there is high-level college softball. One more, and then we're getting a Benny boy.
Let's go to Steve's Action Figure Frenzy, another 20-piece.
We're rich,
boys. Level 10 for my Army retirement today. I remember when Jake said we need a sign that says "Be more like Steve" in the studio, and I don't see it yet. If you're gonna do a song for Cole, a sign for Cole, you can do a sign for Steve.
I got you.
Said you're making a sign. Stay to your word, you Frenchman.
I'm not going to sit here and be talked to you about the logistics of something when it took you 6 months to find a paintball gun and then you missed. All right, I don't.
I got cheated on the paintball gun.
Wow,
we all know it.
Yeah, you just,
F.A. the Red Sox fan, collusion.
No,
collusion, father.
You just better hope Mom taped Samurai Jack. But anyways,
that's true.
Our buddy Ben Mintz getting up early with us. We really, really appreciate it. Ben, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Nice. Well, man, first off, thanks for coming on. It's great to see you. And you got a little news you broke yesterday. You want to tell everybody?
Yeah, so, man, I'm just glad May 2023 is in the rearview mirror because that was the craziest month I've ever had. Obviously, didn't start the best, but it ended. I got rehired by Dave Portnoy yesterday. Announced that I'm working for Brick Watch. I never really dreamed I'd be a watch salesman. I think that's pretty funny. But I'm going to be doing a lot of the same content, just promoting Brick Watch instead of Barstool. So I'm super excited about it.
Well, you know, Ben, and I wanted to say this. If you don't know the situation with Ben, you can look at it, and it's something where, you know, we know you. We've spent time with you over the years. I know your heart, man. I know the type guy you are. And when that went down, you know how crazy social media is and all these people that want to come out of the woodwork. And you know we love your brother and know how great of a person you are. And there's not an ounce of hate in your body. So I just wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way and say that so we can move on to the next thing. And I do want to give Dave Portnoy credit for obviously doing that with Brick Watch, and everybody go check that out because again, Ben, you're a great ambassador, my friend, and we've talked on and off the air before. So I just wanted to say that, man. You know how we feel about you. Having a little technical difficulty right now with Ben. That's what happens with science and technology on Zoom there. A little bit of a internet connection issue going on.
I appreciate Mob never really came for me.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me see.
There we go. We can hear you now, Ben.
Y'all hear?
Yep. Whoa. Yeah, and he does bring up the point. I didn't think the back.
Okay, I don't know.
Yep.
I have good internet here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's science.
Technical difficulties.
Yep. Go ahead.
Here,
I think we lost him.
All right, we're gonna try and get Ben back on. We want to talk some college baseball with him.
College baseball bets, Mincy. Come on.
I know, but look, obviously it starts tomorrow. I brought up the Women's College World Series, in softball starting today. But tomorrow, the regionals start. There's been a lot of talk about some schools that got to host. You look obviously at the SEC with the 8 host teams. One regional that I'm really, really looking at that I think to me is going to be the most intriguing is the one in Columbia. All right. Now Central Connecticut State, that's not a walk in the park either. I know people are like, oh, who's that? It's like a 16 seed. This is baseball. It's a little bit different. But when you look at the 1, 2, and 3 seeds, you got South Carolina, who I know struggled down the stretch, but they've got Petrie. They've got guys enough where they can win the whole thing.
How are they hosting?
It's, again, and another team that's in their regional that we're going to talk about had a very good argument for hosting, and that's Campbell. You've got NC State, you've got South Carolina, and you've got Campbell all in one regional. I'm telling you right now, I'm looking around the country, and there's some really, really good ones. You look at Clemson's regional with Tennessee.
This is the Columbia regional.
Columbia regional, yes. Yes, you look at just all across the country, the parity in college baseball right now is at an all-time high. I mean, we've seen Coastal Carolina win it. That's not going to be a walk in the park either. I actually thought South Carolina was going to go to Coastal. You look at who LSU has in their regional. It's kind of a who's who, but keep your eye on that Columbia regional because Campbell may be the best team there. People who don't know much about college baseball will look and say, the only Campbell I know is chicken noodle soup. No, these guys are legit. They had a legitimate argument for hosting, and it's going to be fun. So there's a decent amount of regionals that are just totally up in the air right now.
I mean, if you're going to be a betting man, which I am, okay, I mean, obviously who's going to be the odds-on favorite to win it? It's going to be Wake Forest. But then you go through it, I mean, who's the number 2 team you're most comfortable with taking that bet? I mean, who is it? Do you guys have a number 2 team you feel really comfortable coming in to win it all?
Yeah,
other than Wake Forest, who's obviously favored to win it.
Well, again, it's kind of gone back and forth. You saw LSU just running through it. It looked like they had the best team in the country for half the year. And then you had South Carolina right there, too, who got super hot. I don't think you can sit here and say, man, I feel unbelievable about this team winning it. But Wake Forest does have a ton of pitching. You look at a team, like Texas that has a bunch of talent, but it really hasn't come to fruition this year. But one team, sneaky fellas, West Virginia. I know you don't think about West Virginia when you think about college baseball, but this team has been a problem and they will continue to be a problem. Then you look at an ECU. Tulane's in the LSU regional, and I know Tulane is 18-40, won the conference tournament and made the regional. You get hot in baseball, all right? It's just like in college basketball. You look at FAU, got hot at the end and ran all the way through it, man. Baseball's a crazy sport.
And Tulane's in there in the LSU regional, right?
Yep.
With Sam Houston and Oregon State.
Which, I mean, Sam Houston, again, that's not an easy one. But it's always, the kind of the smaller teams that sneak up on you at the end of the day. So just, again, you got Stanford out there. When you look at the Pac-12, we know Arizona. Oregon's a lot better this year. Oregon State is always a problem when it comes to college baseball. Nobody has better mustaches than those guys. So tell us in the chat, which regional you think is going to be one that gives the biggest upsets. I'm going to go ahead and say Campbell. I'm going to say Campbell wins the Columbia Regional.
I like that.
I would be surprised by that. I mean, if anything, God, man, it's just so. I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn won their regional.
Yep,
you got Southern Miss. You know, they're going to be tough to deal with. Wake Forest, I mean, LSU, Arkansas, you got to feel good. I mean, Florida, you got to feel good. I think Vandy, you got to feel good right now, too, while you played coming in that SEC tournament, finishing strong. But, man, I'll tell you what, and we talked about this the other day on the show, how college baseball games, the atmosphere of college baseball games are so underrated. They're so underrated. And I'd just so much rather, if you have a chance to go to a regional or super regional or anything, you had the chance to go to Omaha, which I'm super peanut butter and jealous about because I've never been there. Just I've heard there's nothing like the atmosphere when you go to these games. So if you have a chance to go, man.
Yeah, I basically started a war on Twitter between LSU and Arkansas fans with a poll that I put out, which home atmosphere is better in college baseball, LSU or Arkansas, and it just absolutely
Man, they hosted a regional in Statesboro last year at Georgia Southern. And
that's right.
All my friends were calling me about that. It was funny because I was watching it on TV and I could see a lot of these guys I went to high school with. And that whole community just rallied around them being able to host a regional. So it means a lot to these communities.
No, without a doubt. And also, when it comes down to the fan bases, Arkansas, if y'all saw that thing last year, the College World Series, they had the Jello shot challenge, like which fan base did the most Jello shots. I think that it started a Twitter account. Arkansas, I think Auburn finished second. They're going to Fayetteville for their regionals. So this is like become a thing. Like we'll see. You know, you start getting in Jello shot challenges, you never know how it's going to end.
Bunch of rowdy boys.
Yeah, it is. The next one I'll put out there, who's got a better home atmosphere in college baseball, Ole Miss or Mississippi State?
Ooh, you're trying to start a war.
Egg rivalry?
Yes. I mean, talk about Zelensky and Putin. I mean, you want to talk about it can get real weird.
All right, little Booster Club action here. Let's go to Conair Ron.
Dance.
All right, it says UConn is ranked number 10, but is a 2 seed in the Gainesville Regional. UConn should be hosting.
I agree. I mean, you look at their overall record, they're a team that is very balanced. They've kind of slid under the radar, which, you know, as a coach, it's something that you don't mind. Another team, too, Dallas Baptist, 45-14. They're in the Oklahoma State Regional. They've got a better record than Oklahoma State. You've got Oklahoma State, the 1 seed, Dallas Baptist, the 2 seed, Washington, the 3 seed, and Oral Roberts going to try and talk their way out of this one as the 4 seed at 46-11. And then, you know, you go out to the Terre Haute Regional, Indiana State, the Sycamores. This is why I love college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we wouldn't be talking about these teams like at all if it wasn't for this. Maybe in the NCAA tournament, you get a team that sneaks in there and makes a run. You've got Indiana State as the 1 seed, Iowa as the 2 seed, North Carolina as the 3 seed, and Wright State trying not to get it wrong at 39-21 overall and the number 4 seed there.
ECU's kind of in that same position as UConn with 45 wins on the season, but they're the number 2 seed in that regional. And Oklahoma's in that one too, and Army.
Yeah.
That's a fun
Army's going to be a team to watch.
Like, Army is always in the
That Charlottesville Regional, I think, is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I'm going to tell you guys right now, when it comes to booster bets, like the kids going to be taking a lot of college baseball bets. I love game ones in the regional, too. All right, love game ones. And
Remind people the format again.
So it's double elimination, right? 4 teams, 2 wins to make the final, because you're going to have a team that's 2-0 versus a team that is 2-1. Because again, if you got to win 3 games to get there, and then that team has to beat the other team twice to see who goes to the super regional. But one of the cool kind of strategy games that gets played here is, okay, like LSU, for example. You got Paul Skeens, who's the best pitcher in college baseball, in my opinion. You don't want to throw him game 1 against Tulane, right? You want to hold him for game 2 to be able to make the other team have to beat you twice to win it. Now, that is somewhat of a risk because you don't want to go out there. If you lose, you look like an idiot. But it's the smart play. You're going to see most, if not all, the teams save their power guy, their best arm, their ace for that second game. And the kind of the flip side of that is if you're the 4 seed playing the 1 seed, you're throwing your best guy. So if you got a cat like one, you know what I'm saying, that can go out there and really do it, all it takes is 1 game. One player can dominate a baseball game. So that's the gamesmanship I find very, very fascinating. And who's going to start to bunt to move guys over? Like, who's really going to manufacture stuff? Or are you going to try and play guerrilla ball like you did?
They didn't outlaw that yet?
Not yet. Well,
Please
apparently,
don't.
yeah.
They're not going to do it in the MLB. So
Yeah.
At least we can see bunting somewhere.
And we're going to get Ben back on. Just had too many technical difficulties. We'll get Ben back.
Would y'all really be upset if they outlawed bunting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not for me. Look, I'm trying to hit home runs, but a lot of other guys with smaller body types and they're really fast, lay down the bunt. Let's move people
I like
over. You know?
strategery.
I mean, I'll swing for the fences, but come on.
That's what I like.
I just don't think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, man, they don't bunt anymore.
I don't know. If you're a baseball purist, I
They've
mean,
changed so much.
Yeah,
now.
there's not like that. Well, they're not going for baseball purists anymore. Right? That's not who they want watching baseball. They just want the 11-year-old.
Well, they're not going to need to outlaw bunting.
Span of 3 seconds.
They're not going to need to make it illegal because no one's doing it anyway.
True. So you might as well make it illegal anyways.
Yeah.
For the 2 that happened during the season. But if you're, I like these odds right here. Clemson going off plus 800 to win it all. Okay. Then a team who's super hot right now, and that's the LSU going off plus 800 to win it all.
Okay.
But Clemson, who's super hot right now, especially coming to the ACC tournament, going off plus 2,500.
Wait, hold on. So LSU's plus 800.
Exactly.
But
LSU's plus 800, Clemson's plus 2,500 to win.
What's
it.
Auburn at?
Auburn, I do not know that, but I can find that.
Big number.
Clemson's ranked 3.
Big number is the host. Like, I like Wake. I wonder what West Virginia's at, too. That's already UConn.
Who else is in Florida's region?
You've got, hold on, let me pull it up. Scanning.
Oh, UConn. That's the one he was talking about.
Yeah,
UConn.
yeah.
So UConn, Texas Tech, Florida A&M, and Florida. Gotcha.
So Bama's got, in the Tuscaloosa regional, because Auburn and Bama are hosting, Bama's the 1 seed, BC's the 2 seed, Troy's the 3 seed, Nichols is the 4 seed down there in Thibodaux.
Think
And here,
Auburn's,
man, home state, Vanderbilt, Oregon, Xavier, and Eastern Illinois.
Auburn's going off at plus 5,000.
Woo! Gary's so hairy.
Plus 5,000. Obviously, Wake Forest, LSU, Arkansas, Florida, Vandy, Clemson, Tennessee, Stanford, South Carolina. That's kind of shaping out your top 10. I mean, if anything, when it comes to like betting college baseball, I just want there's always that one sneaky team.
Who is it?
It's always that one sneaky team.
Pete.
Like, who's it going to be? Is it Penn? Like, no one really knows. But if you get it right, man, it's like filling out a bracket. There's always that one
baseball.
team.
It's the ultimate variable.
It's always that one team.
But all right, let's go back to the Booster Club.
Texas he said Texas being in the Coral Gables regional could be extremely interesting.
Very interesting.
We hit on that earlier. Kyle Kennedy, what's up, Cal? Arkansas, so much depth on the roster, which is necessary to make a run through Omaha. You're only as good as your bullpen is deep.
Very true.
There we go.
Yeah, Arkansas's regional. They're the 1 seed, obviously. TCU, the 2 seed. Arizona, the 3 seed. And Santa Clara,
That's going to be a fun one, too.
the 4 seed.
Let's go to Nick, a.k.a. the Stash Ambassador.
Okay.
He says, ECU going to roll Oklahoma tonight.
Look, I bet on Oklahoma one time during the year, and they let me down. So, I have no feelings for them. I hope it happens.
ECU color scheme, elite.
Yeah.
By the way, Campbell made me so much money. They're just running through whoever they played every year. I mean, every weekend. It was just, oh, yeah, just no resistance. Here I go.
One other thing I forgot to bring up. So, National Player of the Year, Zach Edey, going to return to Purdue.
I saw that.
7-footer island, alive and well.
Yes. Again, he came to the island. We talked. We sat down, thought about it. Then we put him on the huge draft. And
We had a lot of meetings.
Matt Painter. Maybe
Y'all just take whatever you want.
What?
Take whatever you want. Fine. Here, just take the 7-foot island. You can have it. You can have
Well, we
it.
already did that.
I'm going to start my own island.
It wasn't profitable. You were the founder,
you
and it wasn't profitable. We had to come in and make the thing profitable.
Even Willy Wonka got pushed out.
You see?
That's
with
fine.
you running it, he goes to the NBA.
it was great.
Yeah.
It's still great.
Now,
it's still great.
Now, it's a team effort. He returns to
So y'all hired that new Chick-fil-A CEO. He's sitting there.
No, by the way, Arkansas got Devo Davis coming back. Bama got Marcus Sears coming back. Auburn got Janai Broom coming back. A lot of college basketball, man. Jalen Williams coming back. A lot of guys. Now that you can test the NBA, and say, all right, you can test it like this. You can just hang out, and then you can just go back like that. Like
Should have been how it always was.
I know, like a big circle. And it never ends. Big circle.
All right, let's go to King Don Sobek. He says, Blaine never reads my chats. How about that?
Yeah.
How does that one feel, bud? Let's go to Justin Decker. He says, bunting is crucial for baseball. One of the most exciting plays is a suicide squeeze.
Yes.
Absolutely sick if done right.
And a
Thank
drag
you.
one.
See?
And a
Justin
drag one.
knows. All right?
No one cares about bunting. Nobody does.
Worst.
Nobody does.
You're the,
dude.
you know, I said Brian Harsin.
Nobody does.
You're the worst.
Like you're not. You're gonna lose all
sports. Why
if
do
you
you hate
outlaw banning,
sports?
you're gonna lose all 7 fans, and there's 2 of them, and one of them's in the chat.
That's such an awful thing to say, and you know that's true.
Let's go to the house that Cody built. He said the boomers are almost gone. Baseball purists are becoming very rare. This is true.
It's like Jay-Z said, less is more. There's plenty of us.
I don't know if it works like that when it comes to like ratings and stuff.
Well, touche.
Yeah. Let's go to Cole Frink. ASU is going to win it all. Take it to the bank.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Come on, Cole. Tell Jake what he is.
No, you just want to just hype that up. And I'm sick of it. To be honest with you.
Let's go to Ratchet Dewan. What's up, Dewan? 7 Foot Island is under split custody right now. Blaine gets the weekends.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
It's not under split custody.
Yeah, well, look again. If we let Blaine just run 7 Footer Island by themselves, it's
First
gonna
of
look
all,
like
it's
gonna look like New York City and I Am Legend.
Yeah, trust the
Like, it's
French.
gonna be.
it's
Yeah,
vital.
trust the French.
But Blaine is so intact with 7 Footer Island. He's an integral part of the team.
Don't try.
No,
it.
no,
can't
yeah,
fire
nobody's
you.
saying
You
he's
know
not.
what I mean?
Look,
but you're kind of
look.
like, you know, it's kind of like you're the founder and you're very eccentric, and we give you your own office and your own room, but you don't make.
You're like
There's a
you're
couple
like-
things here.
You're like
You
the
shake hands
McAfee
here.
guy,
You shake
not
hands.
Pat,
couple things
the other
here.
one.
You know, one, you can't listen to anything Jake says because it's it's just French propaganda. That's what.
Yeah, look, it's like I said.
then,
All access.
then you
today.
can the David over here. All right. Who's also a guy you can't trust because apparently he's a Braves fan his whole life, and now one day he just wakes up and he's a Rangers
Yeah.
fan.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll go ahead
And he's
tell
also
people
sick of
that.
the frat boy image apparently on the 7 Footer Island. So this is
What?
what's going to happen. This is going to happen. I started the island. All right. You see all these T-Rexes walking around, all these trees, Zach eating cats out of trees, saving lives.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Take it. That's fine.
We did.
No,
Bear
you
hug.
didn't. You didn't.
You know what a bear hug
I'm gonna
is?
give it to you. I'll let y'all run into. You look at your projections right now.
Stocks up.
It's garbage.
Stocks up.
It's garbage. Like y'all threw a George Strait concert the other day.
Stock-
No one even thought about y'all.
Stocks
No one even
up.
thought about. I'm gonna go and start my own 7
know what a
Footer
bear
Island.
hug is?
All right.
We bear
and I'm gonna
hugged
get
you.
y'all's wokeness away.
Hostile takeover. Hostile takeover because we bought the most stock.
Yeah.
And now we
Well, it's
run
like I
it.
said in All Access yesterday. Like I used to see these stories. They're like, "Oh, brother smothers the other one in his sleep." I used to be like, "How could that ever possibly get that bad?" But you know,
Well, that's what I
starting-
said.
it's
That's what I said.
it's starting. It's starting to make sense.
You got to learn how to play the long game. Okay.
Oh.
So, so Jake's going to come in obviously in my sleep because if not, I'd physically overpower.
No, you would. No, you wouldn't.
And it's going to be in my
Take all the
sleep. He's going
steroids
to think
you want, and
he's
it's
going
not
to
gonna
think
help you.
he's going to think he has me, right?
Yeah.
You know, like boom. Yeah, and he's going to look up. I'm behind him. Boom, bag over the head.
Yeah.
Right. Next thing, oh, I can't breathe. I'm going to open a hole and say, "You deserve this."
Yeah,
And I'm going to close it.
Yeah, it'd be really easy. I'm just gonna put sleeping pills in his pre-workout.
Oh boy, it got awfully
Well,
violent.
I don't know
in
if
here.
that'll work.
Awfully
That'll actually
violent.
counter off each other.
Not if I put
So,
enough.
Like I'll just feel like.
Not if I put enough.
But yeah, the rumors are true. The rumors are true. I am a Texas Rangers fan now. For 35 years of Braves fan. And you know what?
Oh, what a loser!
Here's the reason. Out of all the major league teams, the Texas Rangers are the only team in the MLB to not host a gay pride night.
That's all it took.
That's all it took. But you know what? You made a good point, which is because I just found out about this yesterday.
Yeah, we're talking about
Changed my
yesterday,
fandom
yeah.
immediately, and you said, "Oh, how convenient that now the Rangers."
Yeah, are good.
at
You're
the top
front
of the
running
division."
Frankie. That's what
It's
you
like,
are.
dang, man, I need him to be at the bottom of the division when I do.
See,
things
I did the
like this.
same thing, but with the Flyers, who are down here.
Yeah, you did,
Okay.
but I don't ever hear about them.
Good.
I don't ever see you.
We're
wearing
creeping
the
up on you.
I'm still gonna play.
You
Chop
keep looking
On.
at the ground. What are we doing? Flying. Fly. Hey, enjoy the Rangers, man. Must be nice. Big Prince Field.
Yeah,
around?
look, I'll be the only Braves fan here. I'll carry the moniker. But before we get into bets, we have to crown our first ever, this is the inaugural month, booster bet champion.
Let's
using
go.
The format we use. Brian
Who was
Ganter.
Bry Ganter?
Brian Ganter.
Plus 14
Remember,
units?
You have to have at least 20 bets. All right, he went 15-8 overall, and he was plus, what is that,
30-8,
14.6 units, something like that.
Wow.
Absolutely. It was a great finish. All right, had about 1,000 bets. We know that's going to just keep increasing. Shout out the top 10. I'm going to go ahead and read it. Number 1 was Brian Ganter. Number 2 was our boy Sean Ketz. Number 3 was 4 J's, 3 B's. Let's see, Cody Claw was 4. Neftink was 5. EJ Runis was 6. Hugh C3 was 7. Cody Nason, the king of getting graphic, or the graphic king, was 8. Sasha was number 9, and then Tyson's right hook was 10. Guys and gals, great job. Remember, all you have to do, it's really easy. We put out the bet tweet. I put it on Facebook as well. If you're not part of the Crain & Company group on Facebook, go look that up. Go join. It's a great time in there as well. It has a link where you can click to make your bet, and then a link where you can click to check the standings.
That's awesome.
And Cody Nason and our friend over the Crain & Co. Picks Tracker, B-Surst, is doing an incredible job over there
100%.
as well. And we are still calculating
y'all.
who won the month between us right now, because it's got really tight between me and Baby Cone. So we're waiting for Cody to drop that knowledge on us. But with that note, let's head over to the board.
Great job.
This was
y'all.
awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you for participating. Thank you, Cody and
Yes.
Sergio.
The top-
Man, Tyson's right hook, plus 11 units in Major League Baseball.
Look, a lot of people flexed. A lot of people
plus 10
flexed.
NHL.
And again, remember, you're getting that Hall of Fame shirt. We're going to get your information there, Bry Ganter, and a little something extra as well. And you are immortalized in Valhalla. And there will never be another inaugural Booster Club bet winner. Congrats. It's not them. It's not you. It's actually you. It's going to be me. So here's what I got tonight. Heat Nuggets over 219. Think the Heat are going to be able to score enough? You've had the role players really stepping up. You know, the Martin kids going nuts. Kyle Lowry is kind of looking a little bit in old form. Obviously, we know what Adebayo and Butler can do. Duncan Robinson's out there just beating the stereotype. Tyler Hero could come back game 3. I think the Nuggets are going to score at will. You can't play zone against them, so I like the over. Then, give me Jokic. 50 plus. This is a stat combo bet. 50 plus points, rebounds, and assists. That's going off at minus 145. That's how good that guy is.
I like that. All right. I'm going to hop on this Nerfy train for the first day of the month. Let's go Mets, Phillies, Nerfy, minus 110s, and Reds, Red Sox. No runs in the first inning, minus 110. I think I hit, what did I hit yesterday? 4 out of 8, 5 out of 8, something like that.
Cool.
Nice. So,
Proud of
keep
you.
going.
All right, that's what I'm going with today. Don't want to talk about last month. It is absolutely fugazi in every way. Give me Jamal Murray, first basket, plus 600. Jokic gets the tip, right? I mean, shot clock is down about 6-7 seconds. Murray from the top of the key, little jumper. That's what's going to happen. Then give me the Cleveland Indians. They're the Indians. We all know this. And the 20s, Nerfy at minus 110.
All right, Ace. He's going to go Mets money line instead of
65,
smooth minus 175. Then he's going to go Nuggets minus 8.5. That's going off at minus 115. I think that line's already moved up since we've been on the show to 9.5. I may be tripping. Just catch me before I fall. But should be an interesting month, boys. Like I said, still crunching the numbers, finding out who won the month, unless maybe.
Well, congrats to either you or Baby Cone. Let's go to Freeway Jared, $2 donation. Thank you, Jared. Game 1 in the altitude. Nugs win after a big first quarter. I wouldn't be surprised by that.
The Nuggets jump you out there. That's what they do. It's what they did to the Lakers.
Let's go to Eric, $2 donation. Eric, thank you, brother. Heading to OKC for the WCWS. Go Pokes.
Look, I love it's the women's college softball is the greatest women's sport there is. It is. All right, and I would put, women's basketball with Caitlin Clark at its highest level. That was great this past season. I want to see it continue. When you look at what they're doing at LSU, obviously we know South Carolina with Don Staley is always going to be there. Gino Auriemma and UConn if they can stay healthy. So you're starting to see more teams in women's basketball play a higher level of basketball. So I don't want to discount that totally, but women's college softball is the best women's product out there when it comes to sports.
Nuggets still minus 8.5
Still
right
minus
now.
8.5?
Over under 219.
Nice.
Let's go to Zach Wilson. What's up, Zachary? How will Matt Walsh get out of the fantasy bet of going to the WNBA game? He can't.
He won't.
No, yeah.
He won't.
Guess what?
It's either
Surprise.
WNBA game or Gulag. Which one you want, bud?
Yeah, it's
Ding dong. Hey, who's that at the door? Oh, it's Matt Walsh. He's going to the WNBA game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ding
spark
dong.
it up.
Outside the door is Blaine with a gun. All right, let's go to Conair Ron. He said, I started watching Crain & Co. after the fantasy draft last year. That was a fun event. That leads me into the Ratchet Dewan. He says, we should do some trade videos this upcoming fantasy year.
That's a good idea, actually.
I like that. I like where your head's at.
Ben Davies, he says, bring back Ben Davies' fantasy football war room for Team Knowles. Trash.
Yeah.
Nah, bring it back.
Trash, Ben.
Y'all look like the Packers front office at the end of that thing. Here, let's draft another defensive player. Let's get Van Ness from Iowa. He's got like 3 sacks his whole life.
So we go to King Don Sobek, who's also a Packers fan. I didn't know that. He wants to know who has the best ribs, your home state or France. Answer carefully. And don't tell us about the difference between baked and grilled.
What do you mean don't tell you about the difference? What do you mean don't tell you about the difference?
Like, people get what the difference is.
Okay,
We're
but
talking about baked and grilled. And
baked?
both.
We're talking about baked.
Yeah.
Are we talking about baked or are we talking about grilled?
Both.
I'm trying to keep it together over here. They're not comparable. Grilled ribs, America. Baked rib, France. There you go.
Better in your home state.
What about smoked?
Ooh.
America.
Stephen Moore, who's always right, by the way.
Yes.
He said, we need a CNC mesh trucker hat.
Yeah, we do. I'd wear that. Heard.
Let's go to Kevin T. I'm not a boomer. I'm a baseball purist. That's why I hate the MLB now.
Again, I'm a baseball purist too. I'm with you. We can hold hands and hate it together for multiple reasons. Good, you made the bases bigger. Great job, idiot.
I don't mind the bases being bigger. I understand it actually makes sense.
Yeah, you don't want there to be bunting. So really, who cares what you think?
Well, I don't care regardless whether there's bunting or not. Nobody does, except y'all two.
No, there's way more than a silent majority.
There's
Silent majority.
dozens of you.
Silent majority. There's dozens of us.
Speaking of that, bunting and moving runners over is more exciting than 3 fly balls caught in the outfield because everyone's swinging for the fences.
I have no idea what you said the
True.
first 4 words of that sentence.
Well,
That was just
David did.
one
Why don't you
word.
get the French out of your ears and listen? All right, let's go to Keats Reynolds. Says Brian Haskins sucks. Plain and simple. We even say Brian Harsin. Plain and simple. Freeze is having to do a lot of catching up and damage control and recruiting right now.
Exactly. It made it tough. And again, I don't have any personal animus against Brian Harsin, all right? You tried to break the team I root for, okay? I can be upset about that, but the facts are the facts. You didn't recruit, which regardless, you can be the greatest at everything else, which you weren't, but if you can't recruit, then you're not going to win. That's just how it works.
Let's go to Michael Gillette. He says, will you guys post the results of the fantasy league after each week this year? Did we not do that last year?
Yeah, we did the graphic, right?
Yeah.
Who beat who?
Yeah, I think they were coming out from Crain Company account.
Yeah. Make sure you follow the Crain Company account, too, on Twitter.
A Texas A once says, David, as a Rangers fan, cheered when Odor punched Jose Bautista at second base. Do you remember that?
Good. I'm excited to get in on all the cultural elements of the Rangers.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. Like to go.
Surprised
to a
Blaine
game.
and a Rangers fan, they're fighting during the game.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not a front-running Frankie like David over here.
Well, I don't think when you root for a team for 35 years and then switch, that's being front runner. I feel like you earned your.
And look, maybe the Braves.
Depends on the team you switch to.
Look, maybe the Braves will win me back. You know.
Okay. See, now I'm with you. Now I'm 100% with you. I'd like to switch my.
Look, it's going to be really hard not to pull for the Braves. But
Who are you?
Yeah.
Okay?
Look,
who are you?
I'm gonna be honest.
I
I don't
respect
like
the Rangers.
Hey,
man.
look,
no
past-
pride night for the Rangers.
Past David would be very upset at present David.
Yeah, well,
I don't
you
know
know
what's
what?
in store for future.
Stop hosting
David.
pride nights. Braves.
Poll.
Can't wait for this one.
When you were a kid, did you like pizza Lunchables? Yes or no?
Yes. Facts.
And then
71%.
yeah, I'm gonna say no. 54%.
Yes. 54%.
Yes, let's
No,
go.
46%.
They know. They
Come
know.
on, baby.
Pizza
And your
Lunchable.
French
I would-
face.
no, I would
You
like-
eat that pizza Lunchable.
I would
How
like.
do you like that? It's baked ribs. It's baked ribs.
Yeah, America.
But you bake
Pizza
these ribs.
Lunchable.
Yeah.
All right.
I would like. Did you just point at your ass and say, "Why don't you bake these ribs?"
Maybe.
I would like to let everybody know who voted yes in that poll. The FBI has all your information, and they will be at your door quickly. So that's disgusting, and you all should be ashamed of yourself.
Booster Club, thank you.
I also want to know when's the last time each of them has had a pizza Lunchable. It's been years.
It's a great question, dude.
I don't know. I think they sent them all to Ukraine.
All the people, all the
Lucky.
Lunchables.
Yeah, God, they're lucky. They got all the Lunchables?
Golly, we just sent all the best.
They got
stuff over
Starlink and all the Lunchables.
They're winning.
Like, here, good luck. You can do
They're
it.
winning right now.
All right. Great show, guys. We're going to get Mincy back on. Had some technical difficulties. It's a live show. Y'all know, I mean, again, you don't have to be Bill Nye the Science Guy to figure out how that works. And he's actually really not even a scientist. Like, I don't know if a lot of people knew that, which when I heard that, I
Don't
was
bring Bill into this.
really, really let down because they lied to me.
Pretty that school bus wasn't magic either.
I'm not ready for that. Miss Frizzle was real. I don't care what they say. It's still real to me, damn it. And just like the chances of there being any other better women's sport than women's college softball at the highest level, we're going. Gone.